Welcome back. Today we're going to get into now that BLM isn't trending. I'm Keith.
I'm Rodney, and this is the Dad Chronicle, where we talk about our journeys, employees, we're business owners, we're entrepreneurs, we're fathers, we're husbands, probably other things too. But we're trying to send crumbs for our daughters as they embark on their journeys in the future and talk to our future selves and building. So today we're going to talk about now that BLM is trending. So for our daughters, and for anybody who doesn't know, BLM stands for Black Lives Matter. And I don't know, what month is this? This is August. So right now,
It is.
there are still protests happening. There are still conversations, but largely Black Lives Matter conversations of inequity, of equity, of inequality, of racism have died down. They've almost
waned
gone
considerably.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, from my standpoint, they've died. And they've gone to like not zero, but maybe 0.5. And so I want to talk about that, like how I feel about it, how Keith feels about it, what we're doing, what we're individually doing, and what we think people can do. But what do you see? You say it's Wayne. What are you seeing? Are you still seeing motion, action?
I mean, I think a part of it
conversation
is it was this moment in time that interrupted the train of thought around coronavirus and COVID-19 and everything that's going on. Big news. But now, unfortunately, coronavirus and COVID is still dominating the air, literally and metaphorically. And so I think it's taken over the zeitgeist, what's on people's minds right now, and we're not seeing as much at work. You see the plans being discussed, but we're not, like, there was so much right away, right? Big conversations, big venues, big discussion points. Now that conversation generally is riots and protests. I don't see a lot of the conversation or hear a lot of the conversation. People aren't asking the questions. How are you feeling? How are things going? What's going on with you?
It's still checking in.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, are you still living with this? Did we fix it?
Right.
By the way, no, we didn't fix it. Just want to be clear, it's still here. And I think it's fatigue. So you've got fatigue from coronavirus, and there was a 2-week period where specifically white America, but America was like, what the F?
Yeah.
What's happening? Is this really life? Is this real? And there was a lot of deep introspection, and that requires a lot of energy and thought, and it's uncomfortable, and it did disrupt life and work. If 2020's taught us nothing else, it's how to slow the F down.
Yeah.
But I think that it's been a fatigue, and I don't see the energy to come back to it yet. I think there have been, like where we work, Microsoft, there's been a big 5-year plan, and there's planning happening in the background, and I think that's some of what's happening. There's stuff happening in the background. There's a lot of people who just don't know what to do, so they feel like they're sitting on their hands. There are also the people that are going, and as you talked about, and what can I do? There are people who are going to do and doing research and learning about the history that they never learned about, and the actualities and realities that they've never learned about, and that takes time. I mean, you can't force somebody to read a book fast, or it just takes the time it takes. So I think it's probably a natural lull in the evolution of the emotional drain, the physical drain, actually people doing work. We'll see how much change comes from it, longer term, but And hopefully,
Yeah, I mean,
hopefully,
I look at,
go ahead. I got one more thing, but
oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry, finish your thought.
I was going to say, hopefully people are turning towards election season and legislation season and trying to figure out how to make change at a governmental level. But I don't know that I'm seeing a lot of that either.
There was even at a national level, there were bills being passed. Congress passed a criminal justice reform bill to enhance what was already passed this year. There were senators who put forward ending qualified immunity bills. There was a whole bunch of pressure and push on those. They haven't been voted on, right? And those were originally put forward in June, at the beginning of June, and then at the end of June. And now you see all the attention going to the coronavirus legislation and all that. And so even at a governmental level, things have slowed down. That momentum, that energy isn't there.
And rightly so. I mean, this is right in front of our faces, and it's
Yep.
not, coronavirus isn't going anywhere.
Yep.
And it is affecting everything. I mean, unemployment is
Yep.
still staggering, and companies closing left and right. So it needs to be addressed. And frankly, addressing the issue Black Lives Matter is talking about, or the issues of equity and race, are long-term projects. And I
would like to think, to your point, that more people are doing private work, right? Like the reading books, articles, staying in touch. There are some websites that are popping up about what you can do to be an ally. And I got one just yesterday that sends you a text message on things you can do every single, 3 days a week or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And to be an effective ally. And those things exist, but a lot of those things existed after Kaepernick, and a lot of those things existed before. And it's easy to get distracted by a conversation about kneeling for the flag versus criminal justice. It's easy to get distracted about coronavirus, which is a big deal, right? But so is this. And it's still affecting people's lives every day. And it's just something that I think is important to bring up here, is just, let's keep that flow going. It doesn't have to have that, same draining energy, but keep the attention and flow on it, because just because one thing takes more energy than the other doesn't make the other one have to go away altogether, right? It's the house on fire argument. What do you do if two houses are on fire at the same time? You got to allocate resources to both. You can't just let one burn.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? Do you think the conversation is waning? Is died? Do you still? What are you doing to keep the education going for yourself? Open up the discussion. And that being said, Johnny's going to park his car. I'm going to end my bike ride. And we will be back with you tomorrow.
We're going to bid you adieu.
Wait.